Some time ago, my viewers voted on the best single-player first-person shooter of all time. This video is the counterpart to that. What's the best PvP multiplayer first-person shooter of all time? Keep in mind, it has to be PvP. Co-op does not count. Hey everyone, Jarek here, and how are we choosing the best multiplayer game of all time? What games deserve the nod? Well, what I decided to do was just kind of think of the best multiplayer games for me, the ones I had the most fun with, and the ones that got the most success. Then I all put them in this bracket. I also had one rule, and that was that you could only have 2 games per franchise. I made one exception to this, and that was Halo. Halo 2 and 3 are by far the most popular multiplayers in the franchise, but CE is where it started, and CE is so different than the other ones that I thought it was fair to throw it in too. Not all of these games are the most popular multiplayer games of all time. I guarantee you there's a few in here that you don't recognize, but that doesn't mean they aren't insanely good. But just to be sure I didn't miss any, I went to Twitter and asked what the best multiplayer games were, and only added 1 or 2 from there, so I did a pretty decent job. Also, I fully acknowledge this is not like the best way to go about choosing the best multiplayer game of all time. There are objectively better methods, but this one is just for fun. If you want to hear me personally talking about what I think the best multiplayer game is, then I made a tier list of all these games while streaming, and I posted that over to my second channel. I'll link it at the end of this video. I also got the occasional comment that would say something along the lines of, "It doesn't make any sense to compare these games, they're nothing alike." Okay, we have to draw the line somewhere. This is the best PvP multiplayer game of all time, not the best tactical PvP multiplayer game of all time. It's obviously difficult to compare Halo to Red Orchestra, but that's what we're doing here. If you wanted to compare relevant games like, say, Black Ops 2 against Battlefield 3 and then do that in round 1, well, that wouldn't make any sense. That's just not how brackets work. Those two are very likely to meet each other longer along the line, so best to save it for later rather than round 1 with the games that are probably going to be eliminated pretty quickly. That feel when you have to explain how bracket seeding works in YouTube comments. Round 1. F.E.A.R. Combat versus Red Orchestra 2. These two lining up in round 1 kinda sucks. I love these games. I put so much time into both of them. F.E.A.R. Combat is a personal favorite of mine. If you're unaware of what this is just the multiplayer of the original F.E.A.R. However, it's called F.E.A.R. Combat because it wasn't ready for F.E.A.R.'s launch, so they released it later for free. This meant that it had a pretty healthy community for quite a long time, and a competitive one. I competed in tournaments for this game and won more than I lost. This is one of the few shooters where I was a top player for it. I loved it. But on the other side is one of the most immersive games I've ever played. Red Orchestra 2. Russians versus Germans. There are no words to explain how laying in a trench, just hoping not to get bombarded feels. Words don't do this game justice. I love this game a lot, but if I had to choose between these two games, it would probably be F.E.A.R. Combat. I don't want to choose, but if I had to, that would be the one. Well, it doesn't matter because Red Orchestra 2 won. Next up is Iron Sight versus GoldenEye 007. Iron Sight's one of these games that I personally myself put in bracket. If you play on console, you probably have no idea what this game is. I did make a video on this game a year or so ago, and to explain it very briefly, it's a Black Ops 2 clone, but that doesn't really do it justice. This is one of the most polished games I've ever played. In many ways, I like it more than Black Ops 2. It is the only place I can go to get the original Call of Duty feeling and experience, as we've totally lost that in the Call of Duty franchise today. But on the flip side, there's GoldenEye 007. Personally, I never really had that close of a connection to GoldenEye. I was already playing PC games, so a first-person shooter on the N64 wasn't as good as them, so I never really cared very much. The multiplayer also just doesn't stand the test of time. This is where the subjective idea of what is best comes into play. Do you consider nostalgic feelings? Do you consider innovation and being one of the first? Or do you consider just a more solid experience that stands the test of time? Me personally, I'm going Iron Sight all the way, but I know Iron Sight's not winning, and yeah, GoldenEye obviously is going to win here. Dino D-Day versus Killzone 2. Oh man, this is another one that I put Dino D-Day in here for myself. This is probably my favorite multiplayer game of all time, and again, if you played on console, you probably don't know what this is. This game uses the blueprint of Team Fortress 2, although doesn't really play anything like Team Fortress 2. And the differences between the classes are, Allies have regular weapons, and the Germans have dinosaurs. It's really silly, there's a bunch of classes, but it's oddly balanced for what it is. Unfortunately, the game is dead nowadays, but man, I put a lot of time into this game. One of the very few that I got all of the achievements for. Also, there may be a little bit of dinosaur bias, but I know what's really going to happen in this round. Killzone 2 was largely successful when it released, so there's no way an indie multiplayer game that released on PC only is going to beat Killzone 2, and yeah, Killzone 2 won by 76%. It wasn't close. Time Splitters Future Perfect. Oh, Time Splitters, my beloved. Man, I love this franchise. Unfortunately for Time Splitters Future Perfect, it's going up against Unreal Tournament 2004. Unreal Tournament 2004 is a legendary arena shooter. If not just for the multiplayer, but also for all of the mods, many of them being multiplayer. That said, I love Time Splitters, and you really can't scoff at anyone for choosing Time Splitters here. Its multiplayer was legendary. But as much as it pains me, I also can't fault people for choosing Unreal Tournament 2004. Time Splitters 2 against Quake 3. Time Splitters is back, and man, what's with Time Splitters being matched up against classic arena shooters? Time Splitters 2 specifically is the Time Splitters game I put the most amount of time into, and a lot of my childhood was wasted playing this game. I also did play a good amount of Quake 3 Arena. I was born in 91, so arena shooters are not foreign to me. It is one of the original best arena shooters you can ask for, and yeah, it won. I myself would have chosen Time Splitters 2, but it is what it is. Okay, we're moving on to round 2, and round 1 is not going to be particularly close. I'm calling it right now. It is Halo 3 against Red Orchestra 2. Halo 3 has to be the frontrunner to win this whole bracket. It was both casually enjoyable and competitively enjoyable. This covered the full spectrum of gamers. No matter what kind of game you wanted to play, you could jump onto Halo multiplayer and get it. Red Orchestra 2 was a nice blend between not being full milsim, but not being too arcadey. That said, it's still going to attract more hardcore gamers, so I didn't expect it to be able to take on Halo 3 of all games. And yeah, this is the biggest blowout so far. 83%. The next one got people real mad in the comments. This was Team Fortress 2 against Halo Combat Evolved. This is also where I got a lot of interesting comments from people saying that Halo Combat Evolved didn't even have online multiplayer, so why is it even in bracket, which that's not how any of this works. It's still multiplayer. What? Also, it did have online, just on PC, and then eventually on MCC. This is also where I noticed the trend that people wouldn't necessarily argue for the game they wanted to win. They would argue that the other game is bad and trash and stupid and you're all wrong. A lot of people would argue that Halo Combat Evolved's multiplayer wasn't ever actually good. It was just the first Halo game. Yeah, that's crazy. Anyway, Team Fortress 2 was the original hero shooter. I've seen people try to argue with me and saying that it's not a hero shooter, but yes, it clearly is. Just because it's not the same as, say, Overwatch or the more modern style of hero shooters doesn't mean it isn't a hero shooter. This is where it kind of all started. And unlike other hero shooters that I absolutely despise, I really do respect Team Fortress 2. It never really appealed to me personally, but it is a genuinely good game. That said, if I had to choose between these two games, I would choose Halo Combat Evolved. It has my favorite multiplayer in the entire franchise, as unpopular of an opinion as that is, but I just really love this game. That said, I knew this one was going to be close. Watching the polls, it was going back and forth, staying at about 50% the whole time. But after over a week and 4.4k votes, Halo wins 52%. This one was insanely close, and I don't really blame anyone for choosing one way or the other. Round 2, Titanfall 2 versus GoldenEye 007. I'm not really going to waste your time here. People love Titanfall 2, and GoldenEye is very outdated. Titanfall 2 won by a lot. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. This is the 2009 Modern Warfare 2, not Too Modern 2 Warfare 2022. Anyway, it's going up against Killzone 2, which is very unfortunate in a lot of ways, because Killzone 2 really was trying to copy Call of Duty's success. Killzone 2 plays a lot like Call of Duty with a coat of sci-fi paint, and while Sony fans seem to really enjoy it, it's hard to compete with the original, and Modern Warfare 2 won by a hell of a lot. Halo 2 versus Unreal Tournament 2004. This is where I recognized a trend that was highly annoying to me. So I grew up playing games like Unreal Tournament 2004 all the time. I liked arena shooters. But people that really like arena shooters like to act like any multiplayer shooter that came out after arena shooters are just baby dumb stupid casual games that don't even deserve to be in their presence. How dare you enjoy Halo? That's dumb. Unreal Tournament should win, but it won't because you're all dumb Zoomer babies that grew up on Xbox Live. That's not even the right generation. Yeah, I'm just gonna say it. I liked Halo 2 way more than Unreal Tournament 2004, way more than arena shooters. I liked its spin on arena shooters. This was my style of game. I would vote Halo 2 any day. And it won by 76%. These next two kill me though, man. I love these games. Battlefield 1 versus Rainbow Six Vegas. Vegas was another one of those games that I took seriously competitively just because I loved it so much. This is one of those games where I was a top player winning tournaments. People were chasing me. This is another game that had that perfect blend of tactical and arcade shooter action. I love that. But Battlefield 1 is the last truly great Battlefield game we've gotten so far. Hopefully they can turn that around. Me personally, I would put Battlefield 1 alongside Battlefield 3 as the best Battlefield game. Whether I like Battlefield 3 or Battlefield 1 more kinda just depends on the day. I generally tend to favor infantry a little more than vehicles, so Battlefield 1 worked really well for me. That and it was just an insanely polished game. I loved this game. But if I had to choose between these two, and I don't really want to, I would have to choose Rainbow Six Vegas. Too many good memories, especially in the competitive scene. I just couldn't not choose this game. That said, I fully expected Battlefield 1 to do better because that's just kind of a bigger franchise and it's newer, it's more relevant in time. And yeah, that's exactly what happened. Man, 74%? I didn't expect it to be by that much. Call of Duty Black Ops 2, in my opinion, the best Call of Duty game by far, and it's going up against Quake 3 Arena. This is going to be an uphill battle for anything fighting against Black Ops 2, but boy, Black Ops 2 winning here really pissed off a lot of Quake fans. Once again, they can't fathom that people might like things other than arena shooters, so comparing it to baby Call of Duty is for casual idiots, just set them off. Sorry, Black Ops 2 won. In my opinion, it's the better game. I would have voted for it. What an interesting round this one is. Battlefield 3 against Counter-Strike 1.6. Much like Battlefield 1, Battlefield 3 is my other favorite Battlefield game. Something about the gunplay, the maps, the sheer chaos happening, I just loved everything about it. That said, CS 1.6 has a legacy behind it that's hard to match. So which way do you vote? Do you vote for its legacy, or do you vote for what you find to be subjectively more fun? In my opinion, I'd be voting for Battlefield 3 here, and I think most people have played Battlefield 3 compared to CS 1.6. So yeah, 64% won. Battlefield 3. Here's another interesting round, Halo 3 versus Halo Combat Evolved. Most people consider Halo 3 to be the best Halo game by far multiplayer-wise, so realistically this wasn't ever going to be close. Personally, myself, I prefer Halo Combat Evolved's multiplayer more, but I knew that was never going to win. But holy shit, I didn't expect it to lose by this much, 84%? This next one was going to be close and is going to make people upset no matter who won. Titanfall 2 versus Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. This was another poll that just went back and forth, 50% the entire time. But after a little over a week and 4.2k votes, Modern Warfare 2 slowly pulled ahead. Only 52% to 48%. Incredibly close. People love their Titanfall 2. Unfortunately, Modern Warfare 2 has a bit of a legacy and a lot of nostalgia behind it, so that was going to be a tough one to win, but respect. They almost did. Another game with a big legacy, Halo 2 against Battlefield 1. This almost feels evil to be voting against Halo. I love Halo, but Battlefield 1 really is one of my favorite multiplayers of all time. When this game came out, I was also taking another game somewhat seriously competitively, Rivals of Aether.
Yeah, definitely not something that Jared can't come back from.
Oh no way!
You're kidding.
And instead, almost all of my time went into Battlefield 1. I have to pick Battlefield 1 here. I don't expect it to win, and yeah, it didn't. It's trying to compete against Halo. Halo 2 won 63%. Oh boy, do we got a classic battle here. Call of Duty Black Ops 2 versus Battlefield 3. The classic Call of Duty versus Battlefield. It will never end. This one's tough because I consider both of these games to be the peak of their franchises. And in Call of Duty's case, I don't think any other Call of Duty game is anywhere remotely close. Yes, not even Modern Warfare 2. But this was another poll where it went 50-50% back and forth the whole time. Personally, for me, I put more time into Black Ops 2, and if I had to choose between these two games, I think I would pretty comfortably say Black Ops 2 is the more favorite one. And ultimately, so did some other people. It won by 53%, so this is a really close poll. Alright, we're in the semifinals now. It's finally happening, and guess what's happening? It's Halo vs Call of Duty again. Yeah, so this is an argument that will just never end. It was common back then, it's still kind of common now, oddly enough. Although it's more in a sense of which one is killing itself faster. Let's just go back to the peaks of these gaming franchises. Halo 3 took Halo 2 and completely balanced everything. Unfortunately, it also made bullets travel at 2 miles an hour, which made the battle rifle feel awful, but other than that, it was a fantastic game. But not only did you have your regular modes, you also had all of your forge stuff you can do and all of your custom game modes. It was just a complete package. Modern Warfare 2, on the other hand, beefed up everything you could choose. From kill streaks to weapons, it was Call of Duty 4, but even more. Unfortunately, it was also incredibly imbalanced, and I know a lot of people like that, but I hated it about it, so I'm choosing Halo 3 10 times out of 10 here. And yeah, it won by a pretty comfortable margin, 59%. The other side of the bracket was a little bit closer, with Halo against Call of Duty. Again, we have Halo 2 against Black Ops 2. Unlike Modern Warfare 2, Black Ops 2 was a pretty damn balanced game. That was the main reason I liked it. I liked the maps, I liked the weapon balance, I liked the kill streaks, I liked score streaks, I liked the pick 10 system. Black Ops 2 did so much for a Call of Duty game, and I still look at it as the peak of Call of Duty. Meanwhile, Halo 2 had a plethora of issues, but as far as game feel goes, I kind of like it more than Halo 3. Halo 2 is a lot of my childhood, and Black Ops 2 is a lot of my college years. I have put an unhealthy amount of time into both of these games, and I still do. If I had to choose, it would have to be Black Ops 2. It feels evil saying that, but it would definitely have to be Black Ops 2. And it did win by 54%. That's not comfortably winning, but enough. But that means the final is going to be Halo 3 versus Black Ops 2. If I had to predict any two games making the finals, these would have been the two games. I'm not surprised by this at all. Considering Halo's legacy and how much people love Halo 3 and what it really means to people, that would be the game I expect to win. That said, I really do think I prefer Black Ops 2 over Halo 3. I mean, give me both personally, but still, if I had to choose, it would be Black Ops 2. Not really going to be upset about whatever wins here. Okay, yeah, it's Halo 3. Again, that's not really a surprise in any way whatsoever. But I did have a few other questions. Since we never got to see Halo versus Halo or Call of Duty versus Call of Duty, I wanted to really see what people thought was the best game in their respective franchises. Especially because quite a few people in the comments were adamant, and I mean adamant in saying, that Modern Warfare 2 was the preferred game in the Call of Duty franchise, that no one thinks the Black Ops 2 is the best one, it's always Modern Warfare 2. Which, bullshit, come on, everyone thinks Black Ops 2 is the best one. So let's run a poll. And after 6.1k votes, yeah, what I thought was true was true. 61% preferred Black Ops 2, it's just the better game. On the Halo side, I was pretty confident in saying people would vote Halo 3 over Halo 2, but I was curious enough to run another poll, and yeah, this one was not close. 79% to Halo 3, that's exactly what I thought would happen. Big thanks to my YouTube members, they get to see my videos a week or even a month ahead of time, depending on what's going on. You can become a YouTube member by simply clicking next to subscribe. I keep it pretty cheap. If you want to know what I thought about all of these games, I did a tier list where I talk about them in depth. Yeah, you can see that it's linked over there somewhere. I also have a full playlist of videos that you might like more as well. Hey, huge thanks to all you guys for watching. I'll see you next time.